This better, Dave? Could've just said something sooner if us not doing stuff as a group bothered you so much.
Even Tyson is being social again. Maybe he needed this too.
Maybe don't talk about me like I'm not here? Fuck you guys.
Good for you, Tyson, dude. Finally, someone's gonna mention it. They've been doing this the whole time.
I have so far been 100% on Tyson's side this entire playthrough, except when he was like violently stupid about Canis Lupus Lupus or whatever.
Yes, that is the one time he was arbitrarily dumb. But like even when he was like right at the start of the game, when he was introduced as like being, this is like our asshole bully character who gets like thrown into the group that might be like a problem. He like immediately has more chemistry with Dave and is just a nicer and more normal person than everyone else in the cast.
And the
So
more
it's just like very weird.
The more they begin to act like alien people, the more Tyson is just a regular dude that's understandable moment to moment.
It's great.
Like, Tyson isn't like, I will eat this entire head of lettuce and call it a salad. Tyson doesn't stare at the outside of a greenhouse for 24 hours and be like, yep, gonna check that out tomorrow. Then just keep standing there for 8 more hours.
Tyson's most unreasonable thing he's done was say that he wanted to steal from rich people. like that's the
Fine,
only.
I'll steal all the video game consoles when you're not looking. Jeez.
Exactly. Like that's the only quote unquote objectionable thing that he said, and it's like based. Yeah, steal that Dreamcast, dude. Go for it.
Yeah. You got instantly way louder the moment we started actually recording. There we go. Oh boy. Oh, getting a lot of weird slideshow stuff because I'm clicking out in and out of the window. Hey, we were only playing.
Might need to be more mindful of his feelings.
Yeah, it's like he was like specifically outcast from this group or something and like is sensitive to the idea that you all judge him at all times and see him as not part of the actual friend group. Yeah, probably not a bad idea. I'll go talk to him later. Maybe see if I can bury the hatchet, like between the shoulder blades.
Yeah, you're gonna literally bury the hatchet in him.
Oh.
Barry, what?
Sal. Nothing would go over my head. I would catch it. You know, make friends.
Right. Yeah, I understand. I'll try the same, maybe.
What was Sal's upbringing? I'm so alarmed by this character that's like 5 years older than everyone, but doesn't know anything.
He was raised in a test tube in a lab. then the aliens sent him down to Earth.
At age 5, I was born without a face. When we were all in the greenhouse, I looked around. The air was pleasant, fresh, and had a slight dampness to it that felt comforting on my fur. Dave, over here. Coming. Take these. Go cut the vine holding this thing down, pup. Oh, alright. Tyson handed me some garden snippers before finding a spot to pull the pumpkin toward him. Sneak in there and cut it free, yeah? Dean, give me a hand, yeah? Got it. I watched as Dean got around the other side of the pumpkin to Tyson and rolled it back. Go on, Dave. We got it. Right. I scrambled under with the snippers, looking for the point that tethered the pumpkin to the ground. Hurry up, Pop. This is heavy. You doing all right down there, Dave? Yeah, just... I think I found it. The vine looked more like a rope, coiled and thick. Not to mention, tough at the same time. Both to find a good point that the snippers would hold, and then with how much force it was resisting. I scrambled away as soon as the connection was severed, shooting both Tyson and Dean a thumb up. Alright, it's gonna be heavy. Don't lift with your back. Obviously, on 3, you call it. Alright, 1, 2, 3.
A 1, a 2,
A 2,
a 3.
a 3.
Yeah.
3. With combined grunting and heaving, Tyson and Dean carried the pumpkin off. It's a big fucking pumpkin, apparently.
Yeah, it's a huge pumpkin.
It's a multiple person pumpkin.
It's not this kind of pumpkin, but every single time pumpkins come up in media like this, my brain immediately jumps. This is going to be a reference for people who know. But if you're curious, YouTube search Nichijou pumpkin clip. And then have fun with that, audience.
Pumpkin clip.
That's a good one. It's it's a funny skit. It's a funny skit about how hard it is to crack open a pumpkin.
I'm
and it's
scared.
good. It's not bad. It's genuinely funny. It's like a good.
When somebody
funny
says pumpkin to
clip of
me, I
Nichijou.
think of the Halloween tree, which is just a weird, very short animated film based on a Ray Bradbury story narrated by Leonard Nimoy, if I remember correctly. Just a lot of surprises real quick, and oddly grim and dark in its like ending and overall like what it's doing. But neat, very iconic, very memorable, cool to go back to. We watched it like a couple years ago again. With how much they were focused on not dropping it, I guess that meant they had no time to be at each other's throats. I set the snippers down before realizing that Sal was still standing around. You know, doing nothing and not helping them lift the thing and just kind of watching.
He's supervising, doing his best.
Oh, Sal. I thought you'd be helping them. You know. I can't get over how much that comes up. Not struggle carrying the pumpkin. Not that they seemed to notice with how hard they were trying.
I wanted to talk to you. Alone.
Oh, well, okay, but should I be worried?
No, I don't think so. But I want details about what happened yesterday. How you knew what to do. What happened down in the vault.
Wait, what?
Orlando was vague this morning. It didn't help that I was alarmed to find him next to me, but talked me down. But he mentioned you knew that. He mentioned you knew that what happened was going to happen because of the vault. And to a lesser extent, what you saw in the vault. I want to know how.
Oh, I rubbed the back of my head, not sure how in-depth I should go with any of my explanation. After all, it sounded crazy even thinking about what I'd say. I guess if you tell Roswell about this, the entire game is off. Or is to come up with a new wacky reward. Pistachio ice cream. Whoa. Because the vault's already been opened.
Don't get them started on ice cream. They've never heard of that before, Keith. You might blow their mind.
I'm still not over the fact that Dave went inside the vault and then just left. And we got no description of what it was like inside or what he saw or whether anything was even in there. He just had a vision and then left. And we have not revisited that thought.
My impression is that the vault, like that is the inside of the vault. Is like you step in and then you just have like a crazy vision and there isn't anything in there. It's literally probably just a dark room, is my guess.
Yeah, I imagine that it's like an empty room that gives you a vision, essentially. but the total lack of description and no further follow-up on mentioning the vault just feels strange. Like,
Yes.
it's, like the absence of things was not discussed, or there's no mention of like how he doesn't. It's like, oh, weird. Yeah, like the vault was like the whole thing we were trying to get into, and like I weirdly can't remember it very well. Like there's just no. I'm not given an idea of what to think about it. Instead, we just didn't think about it and left, and then continued to not think about it, which is weird.
I completely agree. Like it's kind of weird that, like, you would think that if he gets into the vault, which is the whole thing we're supposed to get keys for so that we can like get presents, he would be like, hey guys, we don't need to search for the medals, I got in.
Yeah, but at this point I'm wondering if the scavenger hunt is ever mentioned ever again.
It definitely has the feeling that it's just not a thing anymore.
Yeah, but it felt like it was no longer a thing 5 minutes after the first round of it happened. Like they set up the entire, but like writing wise, it'd be very strange to set up all of the medals that all have zodiacs on them, and then never bring that up again. Like that's very strange.
Yeah,
like that'd be that like the completely. Fact that they weren't just like, oh, let's do a scavenger hunt, and then like at the time, Orlando finding the one medal was oddly conclusive, especially since no one thought about the scavenger hunt again. It felt like he just won the whole game, even though he only found one of like 12 or whatever. So it does feel, it almost does feel like it was just a one-off thing that was introduced and then he won. I almost wonder if you play, if you follow other characters that maybe have like later death hooks or something, if maybe the scavenger hunt like narratively comes up again because more time passes, or like I have no idea how the deaths work in this game, or like it does every character die in their route at some point and then you save them, or did they happen at different times? Could one of them have died sooner, completely changing the pacing of our introduction to this game? But I don't know how it's structured necessarily, but it feels like the scavenger hunt comes up again, because otherwise it was too involved of an explanation to just be an excuse to search one hedge maze once and that's it. So like,
it's just weird because it's set up as like an ongoing thing that will be relevant for a long time. Yeah, and it's just
like for all I know, it's as important as like the fucking like Triforce hunt. Like it's literally the thing they have to do to finish the story. But it was a fun, jokey thing introduced at the beginning, and then we have to wait for like stakes to be introduced, and now it's like, oh fuck, we really gotta find those medallions now. But the fact that no one's even thought about them since is wild to me. Like there's just very strange moments where something is reinforced as a thing to think about every day, and then dropped completely. For a stretch of time, akin to like the butler disappearing, where you're just like, no one's commenting on how weird this is, and like we all thought about this thing a lot before, and now it stopped showing up and no one noticed its absence. Let's see. Yeah. There's not much to it really. I messed with the thing downstairs, the vault, and I got a vision or something.
A dream?
Something like that, but I remember being awake. Did you want me to explain what I remember from last night?
I mean, yes, that's what he asked you to do.
Yeah.
Please.
Okay, so I told Orlando I was worried about you taking the medication. And he told me about how you've been wandering into his room, too.
He knew.
He didn't, but he does now, obviously. What? What do you mean he didn't? He did. It's just wrong, Dave. You're just wrong. You know that he knew. That's how he told you that he saw it was happening. What do you mean he didn't? So then we figured to keep an eye out just in case. We were wandering around last night and you'd respond to direct commands. It was sort of scary.
Commands? Like what?
Well, I told you to hug Orlando and you just did. but you wouldn't answer any questions as such.
That's worrying.
That's not the most worrying thing that happened last night. You said that you were told to repent for something.
I suppose I do. Yeah. But I can't tell you. I'm sorry.
That's like pretty ominous to just drop on someone like that.
Just
oh no, the evil voice in my head was correct. I do need to repent for my sins.
Just so many bodies. They're really not doing anything to contradict my vor reading of Sal. Like, it's bulletproof so far. Just every single fucking plot line reinforces the idea that he eats people. That's why he doesn't know what food is. That's why he doesn't know how to cook. That's why he needs to repent. It's why he cruises at a gym every day while also not really knowing what to do there. Sal refused. That's why he doesn't own a car, because he doesn't have a job. He just eats people. He has needed income for food. Sal refused to look at me, despite me shifting my head to try and look him in the eye. I had a hard enough read on him as it was, and this was just making it harder.
Tell you eventually. You deserve to know, especially after last night. Even Orlando, he should know too. Probably the sooner the better, but it's difficult.
Oh, well, okay.
There was something else. He mentioned that you saw me in the freezer.
That's right, yeah. Or at least it looked like it. Not many other places here that are as cold, right?
That's odd. Crocodiles can sort of hibernate, at least to a limited extent, in cold conditions.
Oh, really? It didn't look like you were just sleeping either.
Are you fine talking about this?
I hadn't really thought about it until Sal brought it up. Why was I okay talking about it with him? Was it just that he was so calm and level-headed about something that didn't happen, that it's just speculation?
Why wouldn't you be okay talking about this?
Something that hasn't happened, yeah.
I mean, more like, it's like you saved him, so you should be talking about this, and there's no reason to be uncomfortable talking about it. He's expressing direct interest. He's not like calling you like a weirdo freak for having crazy superpowers. Like, he's like, you saved my life and I need to know the details of this so we can survive. And we're like, yeah, we know this is a death game. I guess we just shouldn't talk about it. It's like, what?
Yeah, well, I think the extent to which people know that is up in the air.
Sure, but Dave
is
knows
odd.
that.
He's been confronted by Oz, and he knows that there's some kind of stakes, but in a vague way where he still hasn't actually had a conversation about Oz yet, with Oz about it yet. And in the Vision's case, it's instead of being like in some narratives where somebody just inherits their memories from another timeline in their entirety and just knows things for certain, he just has like a vague idea that something bad happened in a freezer and doesn't necessarily know what the results of that scene were, and is kind of foggy on like what he should think about that scene. He didn't the payoff of the vault was not Dave running into the freezer and saving Sal before he was in there for too long. It was just seeing Sal sleepwalking, it's not it's not as immediate and visceral as it could have been, as far as like him being absolutely sure how fucked things are.
Yeah, completely.
And then specifically, we know that he did not inherit any information from the good bad, the nebulous bad, the quit end There was no resynthesize or whatever the fuck it said, because I guess maybe because it didn't happen in, well, I was gonna say maybe because it didn't happen inside the mansion, like maybe the mansion does that, but he did leave the mansion in the Sal ending too, so I don't really know the rules there. But we didn't get the memories from that one.
That's a good point. I didn't even really think about that, where it said resynthesize once. Is that what it said, resynthesize? Or reintegrate or something?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And then, I don't remember the exact wording, but it wasn't present in one of the endings, which is like...
Yeah.
That is kind of curious. I wonder what that implies, because I bet that word is going to be like a proper noun that is meaningful to us in the future. But at this point, we don't really know what it means or what it's implying.
Right now, the information we have to go on is that it said that as a prompt for us to go back in time and fix things, specifically after we got a password that let us change things. Whereas the other ending, we just wandered off, everyone disappeared, and the end. So our Dave knows about the freezer, but doesn't know about the other ending, which is interesting because it means that he can't use the information from that as motivation for staying. The existence of the leave ending does not influence the stay ending or all of the stay timelines.
Man, that would be useful. It would be really useful to have that information.
Yes. I think so. I honestly hadn't thought about it.
Then here's why I find it odd. If I was telling you that I wanted to repent, and that led me to sleepwalking into a freezer to die, why not just use a knife?
Oh, that's grim. Wait, what?
A knife to the throat seems a more efficient way to kill me, honestly. If I was responding to commands telling me to slit my throat or alike would be safer.
Maybe the takeaway here is going to be that the commands, whatever, because some commands don't work. Like you can't get information out of people seemingly, or at least not complex information. Maybe you can't tell somebody to literally kill themselves. So you have to do like suicide by happenstance because it has to be like less direct. You have to outsmart the don't kill yourself impulse by trapping him in a freezer.
Instead of telling me to walk into a freezer and risk that I'll just get a cold.
I was floored, staring at Sal with a mix of confusion and fear. How could he so clinically describe a more efficient way of being killed without batting an eye? People have these conversations often enough,
he's
honestly.
also... I'm gonna be pretty serious here. Sal is being incredibly reasonable and like level-headed about this, and while Dave is acting shocked at the nature of being level-headed here, like if you're in a situation, the way you win, the way you succeed is by doing this. Like,
and I have enough kind of like chill conversations with people just about like murder methods and things like that. Like just like it's just like a like slightly edgy conversation you have. Like, oh, we're gonna talk about if you heard about all these different serial killers and stuff, like those kinds of talks. Or Stephanie's just weird.
Talking to Stephanie in the car.
Yeah, average Stephanie conversation. And then you had the same conversation with Stephanie, and then Stephanie had the same conversation with Andrew's sister, just looping.
Yep.
So escalating it to being like, okay, I'm in danger or something, someone has really actually gone after me, I would be all the more like, okay, we need to talk this through and figure this out, because like there's stakes to that conversation now, which is not incentive to avoid it. Especially since, once again, it's still talking about abstract concepts that have not actually been experienced. Like, this isn't like personal trauma of what happened to him. It's a weird hypothetical dream world you've witnessed
it's
that
like a
might
clinical
have real life
take
implications. So it's like being afraid to talk about a prophecy about yourself.
Yeah,
I guess.
Are you All right. You've gone pale.
How? Sal, how? I don't...
It's hard to kill a crocodile, but there are ways.
Yeah, you're the only
he's
person that's
definitely
died
killed
so
a
far.
crocodile. He's the only person that's probably killed a crocodile before. He ate his whole family.
There can only be one.
Trust me, I know.
Why do you know that? Wait. Have you killed your family? There was a tense silence that follows, but the immediate want I had was to give him a hug. Which is an alarming response to somebody saying that they've killed people. No sooner than I had stepped forward, I slipped in the soil, falling into Sal's outstretched arms. Ooh. Sorry, I must have slipped on something.
Did you hurt yourself?
Do you want
That's
to?
so sassy.
No, but I wonder what got me. Probably a piece of leftover vine or something. Your own narration said soil. I looked over my shoulder to see I was correct, instead seeing something glint just above the soil. Wait, is it a metal? Pulling away from Sal carefully, I knelt down to see what it was, tugging it free with little resistance. What I now held was a round metal disc engraved with a sigil of some description.
Okay, I need to be extremely clear here. These medals were set up as things an old resident of the house hid that no one has been able to find. And we're supposed to believe, I think, that people occupy this place. Especially if it's not like just a random tourist location. So if this place has been taken care of, how the hell did someone not find the medal not even an inch deep in the soil of the actively maintained greenhouse?
It's a bit of a surprise because we have a character that's specifically been tending this greenhouse for a week now, and Dave just tripped in it. Which, additional thing, Dave, why are you walking in the soil? I'm not a greenhouse expert. I haven't been in a lot of greenhouses. All the ones I've seen, though, there's like, you're like on walkways and most plants are potted. And like, maybe there's like grow beds in the middle, but why would you walk in them? That just seems, why I just don't know why Dave's walking in the soil throughout this experience.
I guess he was asked to grab and cut the thing, wasn't he? So, I mean, I guess you have to reach in. But like, why is he still there?
Yeah, and they're both just standing in the soil and staying in the soil. They're having a whole conversation standing in the soil. And I'm just like, I understand like putting a foot in when you're like have to like reach for something and like in that moment, but like just the idea of lingering in the soil when there's clearly like a denotation of like which place you're supposed to stand in and which place is other plants' territory, just is I'm struggling with that one. And I don't know, maybe someone can correct me. I've just never seen a greenhouse where the whole floor is soil. Like that's not that's just a farm. Let's put those outside. Greenhouses like we're seeing here, like it's so much like potted stuff everywhere. I wonder if this. I don't know if there's anything on this screen that implies that any part of it isn't just pots on shelves. Yeah. Oh, hey Sal, this is. Oh right, the scavenger hell. We forgot about it for 4 days. Whoops.
Taurus.
It's me. Taurus? Really? Sal put his hands to his head, index fingers curled upward to look like horns.
Taurus. Like the moo cow.
What? The moo cow.
And
Now
they're
that-
not like the moo cow. Tauruses are like bulls. That's the
Yeah.
way that they're always depicted.
Now that I've revealed that I'm a Taurus, I just want everyone to just fucking drown out the real people that are like, oh that's wow, of course he's a Taurus. That is so like blah blah blah, and then like describe. Drown those people out with unhinged shit. Like, Taurus, yeah, that makes sense. What with the waking up screaming covered in blood. Very Taurus behavior.
All Tauruses are professional Let's players.
Give me your increasingly unhinged
sense.
fake horoscopes. The moo cow? Yeah, the cow goes murr.
You know, moo.
The hen
like
goes.
a moo cow.
Yes.
That'd just be a bull, right? What? A moo cow? Yes, that'd just be a bull, right?
Right.
Does moo imply male? Is that what? I don't know
why. A cow, I believe, is technically a gendered term. Like I think a cow is explicitly a female bull.
Yeah,
and
what's throwing me off is the phrase "that'd just be a bull" sounds like it's in response to moo cow and not in response to Taurus. Like not a correction, like a Taurus is a bull, but the moo cow means bull somehow. And I'm like, what does moo cow mean then? Is that a phrase?
Yeah.
Let's see, can I Google moo cow on my phone and get an intelligible...
I think he's trying to clarify what the animal is by saying like moo, like a moo cow, like a little meow kitty.
What does a moo cow mean? Definitions of moo cow: female of domestic cattle. A moo cow is a child's term. Synonyms: cow, springing cow, a cow about to give birth. So moo cow means female specifically, I guess. Looking online, result.
It just says a child's term for cow. I thought, I think he's just being cute about it. I think he's, like a moo cow, like a little wolf dog,
Like a little doggy wolf.
That's.
I was just thrown by Dave's response to being that's just a bull, right? In response to moo cow, as if moo cow means bull, and I'm like, that doesn't flow.
Yes.
That doesn't scan. Well, hey, that makes us tied with Orlando, right?
It does.
And all we had to do was have a life or death experience.
Only 11 more left.
11?
11 more? There are 13?
I thought there were only 12. We know 2 so far, so 10 left, right?
Oh, I thought you were responding to me. The text didn't show up on my side yet, so I was like, yeah, no, I mean, like, maybe there's 13. Because technically there is a 13th zodiac sign, I think. It's Ophiuchus, I think, which is like a snake. But I don't know if that's like actually paid attention to.
It's the leap year zodiac.
I don't know. I don't know zodiac. I don't care about astrology or whatever. Stuff is lame. All right.
These only come up in the context of symbols for puzzle games I play.
Yes.
Oh, I thought. Never mind then. Should we head inside? Feel bad for letting Tyson and Dean do all the heavy lifting while we chat.
Oh, I suppose we should, yeah. With a nod, Sal began to lead the way out of the greenhouse, with me close behind. With the pumpkin on its way inside, it was time to follow, the metal safely tucked away for now. Are we going to reveal the updated score, or are we going to hold it in our back pocket like an immunity idol? The pumpkin had to be the pumpkin had been put down off to the side, with Haas, Orlando, and Roswell looking it over in awe. Sal and Dean had decided to take a seat, and Tyson was lingering near the doorway, looking uncertain. As I was about to say something,
Tyson.
What? Come sit. Ah. Go on, Ty. They're not gonna bite. Not unless you ask me to. You wish. Even then, Ty wandered over and pulled out a chair, sitting with Sal and Dean. Crocodile and Bear were still mid-conversation, but in the brief time that I watched, they did acknowledge that Tyson was now part of their group, at least for now. Ugh. Pumpkin.
Who doesn't like pumpkin? Orlando, what? Pumpkin's so good. Dean said it was big, though. I don't get why you're so... I don't think anything you could have told me would have made me believe it was this big. Ooh, ooh. Dave, what do you think?
I mean, it's not that big. It seems like average size. I liked the pumpkin, fully aware of how big it was, but still reeling at its presence all the same. I hope it doesn't go bad. No kidding. Still, got it here now. May as well do something with it. Guess I better get those knives. I'll be right back. Orlando hurried away into the kitchen, leaving just Haas, Roswell, and I standing next to the giant gourd.
So, pumpkin carving?
Haas's entire personality is just naming things that are in front of him.
Yeah. Just like Halloween.
It's a conservatory.
Say, Haas, have you ever carved a pumpkin for Halloween? Huh? Well, it's been a couple years, but yeah. Used to do it with my little brother and sister. Finally, he has some character.
Backstory. They used to go all dressed up for trick-or-treating?
They were a little too young when I was still doing it. Last couple times I just wandered around with them to save the parents the trouble. Besides, I love those little guys. What did they dress up as? A witch and a boy witch. A boy witch? So a wizard?
How dare you. Warlock.
Nope. Boy witch. Apparently, there's a rule about wizards not being allowed to have a pet rat and fly on brooms. What?
I'm not familiar with that rule.
I didn't know these things had explicit rules to them.
Yeah, I don't know what a wizard is.
But that's... You learn to just let these things go, Roswell. It's easier when they're your siblings, that's for sure. But...
Roswell, let it go. I don't think you're gonna win against children on this front that aren't here and can't hear you. But... is it always the same costumes?
Nah, that was just the last one before I moved out this way. Or before that, it was... let me think. Ah yes, the infamous robot and girl robot.
Roswell was fuming, confused, and holding back from commenting despite it being plain he was taking issue with these costumes.
What's up about robot and girl robot?
I'm gonna defeat these 4-year-olds in the marketplace of ideas. Roswell has anime YouTuber written all over him.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
I have extremely strong opinions about Gurren Lagann.
Oh, completely.
What about you, Haas? What'd you dress up as?
No, jeez, that's going back a fair way. Typically just when it's Robin Hood.
I was once the hamster from Goosebumps that gets oozed. The goo-infected hamster monster.
Is this a real story that you're telling the audience right now, Keith?
Yes. That was in like 3rd grade or something. That's a costume I had. Was just that one Goosebumps story where a hamster gets like infected by like the ooze or whatever and like turns into a monster. I had that costume. That was a costume I sold.
Was like oh, okay. That's what I was asking. I was asking if this was a bespoke costume or something that like you made thinking your whole classroom would be like, oh, I know this, and then you show up and none of them have any idea what it's supposed
it was like
to be.
It was like a printed costume that just had like a face hole in it, that kind of thing.
Gotcha.
It wasn't like an incredibly jank, like made by an 8-year-old fursuit. I don't have a tragic backstory of a hamster Sona.
Didn't get heavy into costuming until I was too old to go trick-or-treating. Last time I went trick-or-treating, I think I went as a doctor. With how big that coat was, I may as well have just been a ghost. You ever go trick-or-treating, Dave?
Oh, yeah, I used to. Who's ready to carve a pumpkin and not reveal whatever, like, massive twist was about to come out? Orlando held up, carefully, a bunch of knives that he retrieved from the kitchen. I used to always go as Monokuma for some reason. Weird. I sharpened them too, so we should have no issue here, creating several bodies. Alrighty, let's get to work. We each took a knife and started staring at the pumpkin before us. Staring daggers? Ha! So how do we start this off? Looking at one another, lost, I looked over to the other three. Seems like they were happy sitting back and watching, as if they were older brothers watching their younger siblings play. Well, first you draw the thing you want to carve on the pumpkin. You don't just pick up a knife, you lunatics. You don't just improvise. It was an odd feeling, but I liked how everyone was getting along. Most importantly, everyone was accounted for. My favorite part about how you guys is how you're all in line of sight and alive for the moment. I sighed out, pulling up a chair so I could get enough height to get at the top. Okay, first step would be to cut the top off, right?
Seems like a good plan. Wait, so with a pumpkin this large, are we just making a jack-o'-lantern, or are we actually cutting it up? Oh, right. Let me lay out the sheets we got. At least that way it'll make cleanup easier.
Probably a good idea. Dave, why are you up there? I figured we'd cut the top off, scoop out the insides, and... you know... do the thing. Why does he keep phrasing it like this? I can't unthink it. Jesus Christ. Oh, he's off his gourd.
Do the thing, huh? Sounds like we're gonna need some buckets or something to hold all the goop. Yeah, go on, just say things, it's fine.
What's the lyric? The kind where you need a mop and bucket?
I'll go get something. I'll be back. Buddy system, you dingus, we literally just established this.
You're gonna wander off and die immediately. Good thing all the knives are in this room.
Which means we need to pay attention to who's in this room right now.
Yep. Fairly certain I saw something from the greenhouse, Sauce.
Sweet. Give me a hand, Dean. Oh, thank God.
The buddy system. Quick, hold hands the whole time, maybe kiss. I looked over to where Dean was getting up from the table, clapping Tyson on the shoulder as he passed. Not that he seemed too pleased about getting touched like that. All he gave Dean was a frown, but went back to watching us with a calm smirk. Sal got up and wandered over, mentioning something to Orlando to cause the dragon to blush. The Sal route is just him crushing on Orlando instead.
I love that about it.
Oh, no, I don't need that. Thank you, though, Sal.
Dave, careful you don't fall off the chair.
I won't. Almost immediately following my declaration, I wobbled, causing Sal to hold me securely on the chair by my hips.
Not anymore, you won't.
Careful, Dave. I will. Somehow flips over. Once I was certain I was steady again, I plunged the knife in at an angle, point away from me. After all, didn't want to go stabbing myself. Yeah, What an avant-garde knife technique of pointing the blade away from you when using it. Never heard of this crazy tactic. Despite how careful I thought I was being, my triumph was short-lived upon seeing Orlando and Sal's faces. Dave, I said be careful.
You could hurt yourself if you use a knife like that.
What? No, it is you're supposed to hold the knife away from you and cut away from you, not towards yourself.
I was being careful. What if it skipped off the surface?
Or you slipped again.
Okay, fine. I hung my head, Sal helping me down off the chair, looking up at the knife sticking out of the top of the pumpkin as Orlando took my spot, shaking his head as he began to carve the top off the gourd.
Okay, to be fair, the way that it was just described, the way they just described his cutting technique does not match the state of the knife in the pumpkin they also just described.
Gashink. You a little excited, pup? Sal patted me on the head, and I folded my arms, sulking. How else was I supposed to shove the knife in there? The outside is tough. Maybe get me to do it? Don't want you getting stabbed.
Obviously, I'm with Tyson on this one. I don't want you getting stabbed either, Dave.
I just need an artist depiction of how badly Dave was using the knife. If everyone is immediately like, nope. Like, universally, everyone's like, nope, you specifically don't get to touch knives anymore. Was he like he's like Roronoa Zora, like fucking using his teeth or something? Like, what the fuck did he do?
Tyson, though? Sure, he can stab himself. I'm happy with that potential risk.
Wow.
What a dick! What an asshole!
Roswell. You can just talk less instead of the things that you say. You don't have to voice these thoughts.
Oh,
Fuck you too, Oinker.
Dave is my friend, not you.
What the fuck?
If someone is going to get stabbed, I'd rather it be anyone else other than him, including every other person standing in the room right now.
This is foreshadowing. What the fuck, Roswell?
Yeah, no way. If I'm gonna be honest, Keith, if we were all at a party like this where we like mutually invited people, including some of your friends, and you were like, nah, I want Andrew and Stephanie to get stabbed, not Toaster, I'd be like, all right, Andrew and Stephanie, it's time to vote Keith off the island now.
Yeah. Roswell is like an upsettingly unlikable character.
Aggressively so.
Like, I'm so confused by him. He's like, because the narrative inherently kind of frames him, like the framing inherently makes you anticipate the idea that he is like your closest, like confident friend. Like he's gonna be like your good buddy you can trust, and all of his behavior and words are unhinged. Like, why would you say that?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, obviously. I looked between the two, wondering if there was going to be a repeat from the other day. Guys, we don't need to constantly reinforce what our personal hierarchy is of the preferred mortality of our friend group. Like, this isn't a super beneficial topic, as it turns out. I don't know what. Frankly, it's suspicious how often you bring it up.